Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of TNT Daily, and this is your host, Cadenza. As a reminder, please check out our channel for more contents, and please like, share, or subscribe to the channel if you want an update the next time we upload a new video. The first news for today is regarding the CCP using friendship groups as proxies to infiltrate and divide Europe.
In a recent report published by the Center for Strategic and Budgetary Assessment, the CCP was said to have co-opted European political and business elites using friendship groups. These friendship groups seem to assist in educational and cultural exchanges between Europe and China, but they are in fact the mouthpieces and intermediaries that CCP proxies use to help with the CCP's united front to divide Europe. On July 1st, the Center for Strategic and Budgetary Assessment released a publication called Uncovering China's Influence in Europe: How Friendship Groups Co-opt European Elites. The report pointed out that friendship groups serve as mouthpieces and intermediaries for advancing Beijing's domestic priorities and foreign policy goals. These groups consist of local politicians and business elites who, through various public events, help get rid of any negative rhetoric about the CCP and support European policies that are favorable to the CCP.
Thank you for the report. In the wake of the pandemic, US-China decoupling impact continues to grow. Now let's hear about the United States plan on CCP's foreign nonprofit organization, the Confucius Institute.
The U.S. State Department may announce as soon as Thursday a requirement for Chinese government-funded cultural centers at U.S. universities to register as foreign missions, Bloomberg News reported. A development that would be signal further deterioration in ties with Beijing. Last year, the U.S. State and Education Departments promised stricter monitoring of the institutes, which have been criticized in Congress and elsewhere as de facto propaganda arms of China's communist government. The world's top two economies are at loggerheads on issues ranging from handling of the coronavirus pandemic to China's crackdown on freedom in Hong Kong and what U.S. officials say is rampant espionage activity to steal U.S. business and military secrets. According to the U.S. nonprofit organization, the National Association of Scholars, there were 75 Confucius Institutes in the United States as of June, including 66 at colleges and universities. The NAS charges that they compromise academic freedom, defy Western norms of transparency, and are inappropriate on campuses. China rejects criticism of the institutes, calling it politicized and baseless.
Thank you for the report. As the latest move in the Trump administration's crackdown on CCP's influence in the United States, the State Department just declared Confucius Institute as foreign mission pushing CCP's global propaganda, according to the Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's latest tweet. In the statement, the Confucius Institute is directly funded by the CCP government, acting as the entity to advance CCP's global propaganda and malign influence campaign on U.S. campuses and classrooms. Pompeo also pointed out that the American teachers and administrators should be informed regarding students' access to Chinese culture and language free from the manipulation of the CCP and its proxies. This foreign mission designation will require the Institute's headquarters in Washington, D.C. to clear all its personnel and property to U.S. authorities and allow U.S. officials to have insight for the first time ever into their operations. Next up, regarding the CCP virus, a world-class biotech expert alleged COVID-19 is man-made, and let's hear more details about it.
Executive President of the World Academy of Biomedical Sciences and Technologies Giuseppe Toledo alleged that COVID-19 is man-made in his recently published book. The book is only available in Italian and is called China COVID-19, the Chimera That Changed the World. In particular, Toledo alleged in his book that COVID-19 definitely wasn't a freak of nature that happened to cross the species barriers from bat to man. It was genetically engineered in the Wuhan Institute Virology's P4 lab in a program supervised by the Chinese military. He claimed that the coronavirus is a virus built upon SARS. When the outbreak happened, the Chinese government commanded the WHO to name it as a new virus called human new COVID-19 rather than SARS-CoV-2. Toledo clearly stated names, dates, places, and solid facts to support his argument. The book started with how Wuhan P4 lab was established due to the pretense of developing vaccines for SARS in 2003. Later on, the French government provided help to Dr. Shi Zhengli to show her how to manipulate HIV genomics. And as we know, the P4 lab applied this type of technology on COVID-19 to make it more infectious and lethal. Media's interviewed Mr. Toledo about his outlook on vaccine development, and he was not optimistic about it. He said that right now, the Chinese government still refuses to provide the complete genetic code for COVID-19, and this means that scientists in the West cannot develop a highly effective vaccine due to the lack of information. In other words, people will continue to die as long as China continues to hide the truth.
Thank you for the report. As more and more people are dying each day, the truth of the CCP virus continues to unravel to the world. The next news we have is about the CCP building a third assault carrier as China-US relationship deteriorates.
Under continuously deterioration of China-US ties, China's envoy to Washington, Cui Tiankai, stated at the Aspen Security Forum in picturesque Aspen, Colorado, that China does not seek global dominance, nor does it want tensions with the United States to escalate further. But as Chase said his words at the forum, new satellite surveillance, China's Starlink, and ongoing Navy build-up develops rapidly. According to Forbes magazine, the Chinese Navy plan is expanding dramatically. A year ago, it had no amphibious assault carriers. By fall, it could have 3. His remarks came nearly 2 weeks after a policy speech delivered by the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo at the Richard Nixon Presidential Library and Museum. It was Nixon's 1972 China visit that ushered a historic thaw in the relation. Pompeo used what U.S. media called dramatic Cold War language to blast decades of formal relations with China and accused Beijing of seeking global dominance.
Thank you for the report. Moving on to the next news, a top Chinese spy was nabbed in Delhi for gathering information on Tibetans.
Luo Sang, aka Charlie Pen, an agent of the Chinese External Intelligence Agency (MSS), who was arrested by Delhi police back in 2018 on charges of espionage operations, was recently found to be a mastermind of money laundering. Officials of the Income Tax Department revealed that Sang had created more than 40 bank accounts which were linked to several shell companies. The department had raided a few Chinese individuals and Indian professionals who were allegedly involved in these money laundering and hawala transactions. A thorough interrogation of Sang has been continued by several central agencies.
For the last news today, the local CCP authorities in southeastern city Shenzhen says chicken imported from Brazil tests positive for coronavirus.
A sample of frozen chicken wings imported into the southern Chinese city of Shenzhen from Brazil has tested positive for coronavirus. The city government said in a notice on Thursday, August 13th. The discovery came a day after traces of the coronavirus that causes COVID-19 were found on the packaging of frozen shrimp from Ecuador. China has been stepping up screenings at the port amid the concerns over food imports. The Brazilian embassy in Beijing did not immediately respond to a request for comment. In addition to screening all meat and seafood containers coming into major ports in recent months, China has suspended some meat imports from various origins, including Brazil, since mid-June.
Thank you for the reports. That's it for today's TNT Daily. Thank you for tuning in. If you would like us to know how we did, please leave a comment and see you guys tomorrow.